wherever it wants to go.
Right.
But
Which isn't always bad as a guitar player.
well, no,
Guitar
no,
play.
especially if you're doing lead stuff, because you can.
Right.
You
Exactly.
don't have. What am I trying to say? You have to be in good time, but you can play with that time a little bit as far as what you're going to fit in, to your count. Like you can get away with, jumping from, wholes, quarters, eights, but jumping around triplets, but doing whatever. There's a little more freedom, but when you're playing rhythm guitar and you're just trying to, lock in something with somebody, and you'll find out real fast that you can't, or you
Right.
can,
Yeah.
like you, but it's not. It's, a lot of people had that's a big thing for a lot of people is how hard that is.
Yeah. No, I've been told that before, and I always say, well, lead's hard. I think lead's harder. I always just played rhythm because I had that timing thing. I was always just like able to keep the time, and I'd play with the bass, and I'd play with the drummer, and I'd play on my own, I should say. I almost said it too. Yeah, so I was comfortable in that role. And then as years progressed, I learned how to like solo and things like that. But even to this day, I'd rather play rhythm. But that's just me.
I think when you're alone, I think it's unless you're, I don't know, trying to impress yourself. I think it is more beneficial to play rhythm. It's almost more fun because you're creating something unique and musical as opposed to if you're gonna run through scales or play leads, you're generally playing over something of somebody else's. But if you're doing rhythm stuff, I mean, you can play other people's stuff, but you can just come up with your own stuff on the spot, or you can Jimi Hendrix the shit out
Mm.
of it and do both. You know.
Yeah, yeah,
So I
yeah.
mean,
It's free flow. You know.
absolutely. So what the garage band thing now? Whatever happened with that?
Yeah, so we got the police called and we were told we can't play in that garage anymore. But we just migrated. We went over to my buddy's basement, which became the practice spot for like 2 or 3 years. After that, um, it was awesome. Actually, thinking back, I feel bad for his parents, but it was a cool little place. It was back up in the Northeast, outside of Boston, and those old school houses that have like the big deep basements with the
Are
big
are you from Are
pools.
you from Massachusetts?
Yeah, man, I'm from Stoughton,
I'm from
Stoughton,
Taunton.
Mass. That's crazy. Yeah, oh yeah, yeah, Silver City.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
I'm from Toughtown, USA.
Nice, bro. Nice. Yeah, my dad just left Easton and moved to Florida.
Wow, that's a small world.
Yeah.
That's
God, I'm
crazy. And
sorry.
you're
I
in
did.
Florida too,
Yeah,
right?
I didn't mean to stop you. I forgot that we
Uh-uh.
had that conversation and you kept bringing up Boston. So I'm like, wait a second.
Yeah, yeah. Born and bred, man. Yeah,
Nice.
yeah, I still love it. All my family and most of my friends are up there too. I mean, that
Yeah.
is home
I
basically, but I,
miss
I
it.
do like it down here.
I miss it. Oh, that's right. You're in Florida,
I
dude.
am,
It's
yeah.
like I completely forgot our whole conversation.
Yeah, it happens. Yeah, there's a lot going on.
All right. I keep derailing this thing. You're in the basement. It's becoming the new practice spot. You feel bad for the parents.
Yeah,
So,
but we were rocking and rolling, man. I mean, after like 6 months in the basement, we started we started to get some half stacks in there.
oh
Like
my god.
at the time there was the scene,
Hmm.
back in the day, especially around the South Shore area in Massachusetts, where
Yep.
you play the church basements and you play the
Oh
VFWs,
yes.
and maybe you just have the jam going on in the basement, or maybe a graduation party,
House
things like
parties and
that.
stuff. Yeah.
House parties, yeah, exactly. Um, yeah, so you just get used. I got used to that style. Like we were playing a lot of punk,
Oh,
like
sick.
towards emo punk, basically in this band. And we had some revolving players. We went through like three drummers, two bassists. We'd have people come on, but myself and my my friend, at the time, we were the rock. We were basically the core, and yeah, there's really no better way to learn than to just play with other people. I think it's the best.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with that. That's
Yeah, but we had the half stacks. I had a Behringer 4x10 or 4x12 cab. And then I had the Marshall solid state head on top of that. My buddy had
Would you have
the
like a?
Line
Did you have
6.
like the MG 100?
I think it was.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was a lower model solid state.
sound
You
good
know,
though.
and
They don't sound bad. They
well,
sound
I had
good.
no idea what a tube was.
Fair enough.
you know,
Fair enough.
but it was cool, especially his rhythm in this band. It was just a solid sound. And then my buddy, the other guitar player, he had a full Line 6 half stack. So he had the tube amp going with the floorboard, and he was more advanced than me, which was key too because I learned a lot from him and
Absolutely.
just trying to keep up with him. It's mind blowing. And then we had the drum set. My buddy Ryan had this huge drum set. He's a marching band drummer, fucking phenomenal drummer. But he had the Rush kind of drums. The drummer from Rush, he'd have the
Hmm.
toms, and then he'd have the toms on the toms, and then he'd have just double hi hats, and then he just all kinds of shit. Um, and so, yeah, we had all that equipment in a little basement, and yeah, man, the ears would ring after a little
Oh,
while.
I'm sure.
It was just so fun though. We'd go to Wendy's after and just slam 4 junior bacon cheeseburgers. And just,
I have the sinking feeling that you probably know some people that I know.
yeah,
Well,
probably.
because you said you're in your mid 30s.
Yeah.
I'm a few years older, but most of my friends up there are your age. They were all very much into the scene, and a few of them were
Oh shit.
musicians, and they all were all around that area.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, yeah. We probably have some interconnected people
uh,
for sure. Yeah.
after this podcast, maybe on another day, we'll have to talk some more because I'm almost positive you will probably know some people that I know.
Yeah, we should definitely talk
Yeah,
offline for sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
But all right. So yeah, I remember going to these kinds of parties, and I'm trying to get over this whole half stack in the basement because I feel like a 40
So
watt combo in the basement would be loud as shit.
it was so loud. We just wanted half stacks because everyone else had them.
So like, what happened towards the end of the band you were in? Like, did it break up? Like, what happened?
Yeah, no, it didn't really break up. I went to college after I graduated. So when I was 18, after that summer, I went to college. And looking back, I wish I just took a year and didn't and just stuck with the band and got some kind of job and figured it out from there. But they don't really tell you that out of high
Yeah,
school. They're
no, they
like,
don't.
all right, we're going to kick you on to college. And
Well, that's the
so
thing. Go to college, but we're not going to guarantee the life you're going to have after.
yeah, but you don't know that at the time. You don't know that you're going to be buried in this student loan debt if
Yeah,
you go
I,
that
I
way.
went
But
up. I went up to the
mm,
the Occupy Boston movement when that was going down.
oh,
Yeah, so
wow.
I got to meet a lot of people up there, and there's a lot of very
Wow.
unfortunate stories about people who felt that they were sold a dream that was unachievable. Now, I'll admit
They were.
a lot of people did go get some like majors that they probably already knew they weren't going to come out with anything, but
Yeah.
there's a lot of people they really got fucked back then, man.
Yeah. Yeah, and they're still getting fucked today.
Yeah.
It's just because no one tells you. No one tells you that. You have time to figure it out. For me personally, 5 colleges, 3 majors,
Wow.
fucking thousands of dollars, and I'm still back. I'm back in school now. I'm going to Dean College
Nice.
online. Yeah, gonna finish this thing up just because finish what you started kind of thing.
Absolutely. That's a good
But
attitude to have.
yeah, man, yeah, that's where I'm at in my life right now. Is just
There's
to
there's nothing wrong. I mean,
go
look,
for
that's
it.
not where you're at. I mean, that's where you might be physically at, but talking to you at the beginning of the show, you're well past that. I mean, you sound like a very well-adjusted guy who has very clear goals and seems very capable of making them happen. So, I'm
I
rooting for
appreciate
you.
that.
I'm rooting for you, man. You definitely have the attitude to do all these
Sweet,
things. Yeah, I mean, you're
yes,
cool as shit,
sir.
man. You seem like a real down to earth cool guy, and I hope all this stuff works out for you.
I
But
appreciate that. Thank you so
so
much.
what are you doing musically? Like after you? Well, I guess you moved to Florida at some point.
Yeah, yeah, not well, about a year ago.
Oh,
Moved
okay.
down here. So that was, yeah, about a year ago, 14 months. I haven't really done too much as far as like go out and look for bands. So over the years, after I ended up going to college and leaving the band I was in, they continued on and then they fizzled. But for me, I just kind of went all acoustic and I went into this dispatch kind of mode. where I was just doing all acoustic stuff, going hippies, and getting some hemp necklaces and going that route. And from there, I just kind of ended up networking with different people. When I was still with that band in high school, we did some things. We did some things. We did some church basements. We did some VFWs, but we also got to record at the Arts Institute.
Nice.
We did a 2 day. Yeah, it was a 24-hour session.
Wow.
Is what it was. It was for a student project, but we got to experience that real studio deal where it's like,
Amazing.
holy shit, like this is real. So that was an experience, and learning how to play with a metronome and try to line up tracks, and honestly trying to still not kill each other.
Yeah.
Because you take one, take two, take 20, take 30. It can build and build, but huge experience, huge gain of knowledge for sure doing that. And then that kind of snowballed over time, where I was just doing personal stuff. I was just writing a lot of songs and doing anything I could to switch up my style. I became a big Dave Matthews Band fan.
You're the second person in a
And
row that has come on here and said that.
man, if you're gonna play guitar and you like Dave, because there's a huge hating
No,
Dave
I love Dave Matthews.
fan base. Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. And actually, the best concert I've ever seen
I've heard
was
that.
Dave
I've heard
Matthews.
that from a lot of people throughout the years. A lot of people who've gone to see him have swore that he's one of the best shows they've ever seen.
Something about it, man. It's powerful. It's powerful. I went to Rothbury back in, I think it was '07, '08, which is now Electric Lights Festival out in Michigan. Man, huge lineup. Huge line, 311, Snoop Dogg, all kinds of people. But when Dave came on, it was like, whoa. And the thing with Dave, his guitar is so hard. So hard. He doesn't stay in regular time. Usually he's on a different time signature or just doing something incredibly different. And just the way he stretches his fingers and these chords that he hits. Oh man, that was where I ended up. Like when I was 19, 20, I was playing a lot of Dave, learning how to play that. Because once I got to that level where I could play a little Dave, that confidence just drew up, and I was good to go from there, because it's just so hard.
Yeah.
Have you ever looked at some of
I
that
have not.
music and
I have not.
some of those tabs?
I've listened to a lot of his music, but I never even thought to like try to play one of his songs. For me, it was I was in my shit early 20s, mid 20s when I was listening to Dave. I was too stoned to do anything back then, so let alone try to
Fair.
figure out or play anything. But yeah, man, I also noticed that. I don't understand what the hate is for him. It's almost like he can almost
Yeah.
do no wrong only because the level of infamy that he's hit. So it doesn't matter what he does. But the truth behind it is he's really a genius.
I agree.
And he's an
I agree.
incredible songwriter. All I don't know. His songs just have a presence to them that a lot of those singer songwritery or acoustic playing songs. It's just at a level that most people don't reach, in my
It's
opinion.
oh no, I think you're spot on. I agree, my man. It's he is on, how do I say this? He is on a pedestal for
Yeah.
sure. And until you start actually dissecting the music and figuring out how he's playing this and the time he's doing it,
Mhm.
because not only is he good, he surrounds himself with
Oh yes.
unbelievable musicians who come and go. But the drummer, what's his name? Borford or Beaufort,
Fulford.
I should know that, or
Okay.
even Boyd Tinsley on the violin. Incredibly talented and jazzy, and then he's got this dark melodic style that kind of gets bright with the acoustic strings. And man, definitely check out some tab or some chords
I'll look into it.
on some Dave. If you're gonna start anywhere, I would say start with So Much to Say.
Okay. I love that
Yeah.
song.
Oh man, that when you start for me, when I start playing that, it's like my go-to. I still do it to this day. It's my warm-up. I can put it on now and just play with the music. It's just so fun and so challenging. It's great.
I really feel like he's kind of reached I'm probably gonna get a lot of hate for this, but I don't care. There'd have to be more people listening for me to